Welcome back to Let's Analyze Elsword Revamped. There's a link in the description if you'd like to read my fanfiction of Elsword before watching further. Just like Chapter 3, this chapter brings a lot of controversial topics that some people find unsettling. I'll try to explain them so they seem more reasonable, if not completely reasonable. Before I get started on the first paragraph, I should go over the naming of Chapter 10. You might have thought it was a reference to Reyna's transformed job path, and you'd be partially correct. As with the previous chapters, the naming for them are based on a theme or activity that the majority of the chapter uses. Reyna's watchful eyes in the night, as well as Louis Shell's Nazod camera recording in the dark, are examples of this Night Watcher activity. We're finally back to Reyna's perspective, and the beginning of this chapter is only a few hours after the ending of Chapter 7. Reyna mentions guard shift, implying that Aisha took the first guard shift by watching over a sleeping Elsword for a few hours before Reyna would swap places if Elsword did not wake up. This aggression from Reyna is the first controversial thing here, because everyone who hasn't read L-Type or time travel doesn't know how angry and terrifying Reyna can be. The game doesn't show that side of her at all. I'll be showing 2 screenshots from the first L-Type webcomic that are good examples, and after that I'll show a screenshot from the first volume of Time Trouble. Be sure to pause the video if you'd like to read, because I'll be showing them for a handful of seconds each. These crunch noises happen right after the previous paragraph, so you can bet Elsword overheard Reyna. Keep that in mind for the next chapter. The Golden Days accessory set is the same set that you can randomly get from treasure chests if you're lucky enough with your high-ranked treasure hunter profession. These pictures are supposed to show how much history Hoffman has with the citizens of Elder. The top photo shows Hoffman with Echo's mother. The rightmost picture has him with Echo. The bottom has him again with Lenfad, and the leftmost picture has Hoffman, Louis Shell, and Noel together. I specifically had Lenfad refer to Reyna as Elf Chick to show some form of disrespect for not trusting her. According to the game, Lenfad initially did not trust the Elf search party by calling them kids, but we already know Reyna isn't a kid. It didn't feel right to have Lenfad be trustful with just her in the fanfiction. That would make his distrust for Elsword and Aisha unnecessary. Why not make it simple by having him distrust everyone to start off, like the game does, but give him a better reason for Reyna? I'll explain why he doesn't trust her in a later chapter. I drastically altered the layout and enemies for the Banthus cave dungeon for a few reasons. Why in the world do the bandits think having a red Foru twice as big as them and a bat 3 times bigger than them is a good idea? That's why the giant red Foru, Bat King, hungry bats, and bat enemies are not in this dungeon. As cool as the waterfall opening is near the end of the dungeon, it would shine too much light for the darkness trap to work, which is why I removed that. Reyna activated Awakening mode since her 3 Nature Force orbs appeared, which is why her skill, Guided Arrow, shot 5 arrows instead of 3. This is Elsword's first time seeing Aisha use magic, so that's why he's flabbergasted. Speaking of magic, I thought the idea of spawning a meteor indoors was overpowered for the fanfiction since the impact would happen too soon, so I changed it to make a meteor spawn higher to be more balanced, which is why the ceiling collapsed. The meteor spawned above the roof and crashed in. Even with Aisha's base job, she can cast the skill Lightning Bolt after such an MP expensive skill, Meteor Call, because of her character system called Memorize. She can pay the MP cost of any 3 special active skills, excluding duplicates and hyperactives, in advance to use them for free later, but the catch is they're weaker. That's why her Lightning Bolt, combined with Elsword's Mega Slash, did not kill Banthus. There's also the catch of her not keeping memorized skills if she goes to another area, but for the fanfiction I'm excluding that feature. I designed MP regeneration to be much slower, and characters won't usually stand around long enough for Aisha to charge her MP quickly enough for memorizing spells in a new area. To compensate how overpowered this may sound, I'm reducing the damage of her memorized spells even more. This means they are more focused on utility than damage, like how Lightning Bolt stunned Banthus for Elsword to attack, and I'm increasing the damage of her non-memorized spells so they're more realistic compared to how weak they are in the game. It's understandable that Reyna's angry here, since any of them could have been hurt, but the bigger reason why she's angry is that Elsword and Aisha said they would help Reyna if Lua or the Night Savers came their way. Now, Reyna needs them more than ever to stay well if that situation ever happens. I hope my explanations were helpful to those who did not understand why Reina was so mad in this chapter and how her attitude is shaping up to be like Nightwatcher's commanding attitude. That's not to say Reina will entirely become like Nightwatcher, because she does have her Imperial and Rebellion job paths. Even though I constructed some of Reina's attitude based on L-Type and Time Trouble, you don't have to read them or know about any outside Elsword media to understand the fanfiction. I wouldn't want references or lore to not be understood just because you don't live and breathe Elsword content. In fact, I really want this fanfiction project to be understood by anyone, even if they never heard of Elsword. These videos should be a great explanation for those that are still confused by what they read or are new to the series and need clarification. If you like this video or the fanfiction, show your support in the comments or with a review on fanfiction.net.